Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with a massive rescue operation underway on the west coast to save dozens of stranded whales. The mammals were first discovered this morning, washed ashore at Macquarie Harbour just south of Strawn. Our reporter McKenna Bailey is there. McKenna, wildlife rescuers have a huge job ahead of them.
That's right, Kim. It's a race against time here tonight to save around 230 whales, believed to be pilot whales, that became stranded here today. The Department of Natural Resources and Environment is putting everything it can into its rescue mission, hoping to avoid a repeat of the mass strandings that resulted in hundreds of deaths at the same location 2 years ago. This pod of stranded whales was first discovered at Ocean Beach mid-morning. Roads leading to the area were quickly closed as wildlife experts took to the air to get a better vantage point of the number of whales in distress. The department says it appears about half of the animals stranded on a sand flat inside Macquarie Harbour are alive. Locals are being kept at a distance and should expect further road closures tomorrow. This incident comes 2 years to the day since the largest whale stranding in Australia's history occurred here. Sadly, almost 400 whales were killed. And just 2 days ago, the carcasses of more than a dozen male sperm whales were discovered washed ashore on King Island. Experts say it's too early to know the cause of this latest stranding, but one thing's for sure, it's a distressing and unfortunately all too familiar sight for locals here on the west coast. Kim.
Okay, thank you very much, McKenna Bailey there. And McKenna will try and get back to you later if there's any developments. Well, the AFL is facing sickening racism claims, which have forced Chris Fagan to stand down from the Brisbane Lions and put Alastair Clarkson under extreme pressure. Hawthorn and key football figures are at the centre of the bombshell allegations that include the club encouraging a player and his partner to terminate a pregnancy. Locally, Tasmanian politicians have welcomed the investigation into the allegations. The state government has sponsored the club for more than 2 decades. Hawthorn plays 4 matches a year at UTAS Stadium, while the Tasmanian brand features on their Guernseys. Politicians from all sides say answers are needed.
We support the Hawthorn Football Club investigating those allegations. The allegations are very concerning and we support that investigation.
We want to see how Hawthorn itself responds to this report and reassures not only Hawthorn fans but Tasmanians and Australians that nothing like this will ever happen again.
The current deal has now expired, with any renewal on hold until a decision on a Tasmanian team has been made. And Ashley Whistleblower says she's reaching breaking point in her fight for workers' compensation. Today, 3 of Tasmania's independent MPs joined forces, calling for the state government to change its tactics and deal with her claim in a fairer way.
Fighting both for the children and herself, Alicia helped lift the veil on Ashley Youth Detention Centre, leading to its announced closure. The experience resulting in her applying for workers' compensation, a process she says is distressing.
During those assessments, I've been asked incredibly irrelevant, traumatic information.
Already undertaking 4 assessments, including one by her own legal team, after being refused access to findings. She says government lawyers want her to undergo a 5th. Alicia says she will refuse the order, a decision that impacts those around her.
Being able to pay a mortgage and my children's school fees and all those things, or my health, and I have to choose my health.
Her experience is uniting 3 independent MPs, calling for the government to act as a model litigant.
How many times does somebody have to be assessed medically and also not have those assessments shared with their legal team?
It is unacceptable. The state government have been forum shopping, doctor shopping.
Andrew Wilkie, himself a former whistleblower, taking aim at the tactics.
A strong signal to other people who might be whistleblowers: don't follow her example, because we'll do to you exactly what we did to her.
In a twist, 2 of the 3 received a letter from the Premier today, indicating Alicia's case will now be handled externally. Government Minister Guy Barnett said while they won't comment on individual cases, they will support anyone who comes forward with allegations.
That's why we established the Commission of Inquiry. we are very concerned, and in terms of supporting victim survivors, we absolutely acknowledge that.
The government actually now needs to do their bit and say, you know what, thanks, Alicia, and go and recover from this nightmare.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
6 days after the state government unveiled reforms to the gaming industry, the opposition has finally outlined its position. Labor announcing it won't block the reforms, which include mandatory pre-commitment technology. The party had faced intense criticism from the Greens and Liberals in recent days for not declaring its hand earlier. Shadow Finance Minister Dean Winters says answers are still needed about how personal data will be protected. The controversial Gorge Hotel project will go ahead following a vote by City of Launceston councillors this afternoon. That's despite several questions raised by residents as to whether the proposed hotel will fit the character of the city and if its height is appropriate.
A contentious project back before council.
We already know from the tribunal's decision on the previous application that the height of the building is not compatible with the streetscape and character.
What we hope is that council will not be distracted by these issues that are not relevant to this planning application.
The City of Launceston Council voting on the Gorge Hotel development for a second time.
Please raise your hand. Those against, so that's one against. That's Councillor Walker. The rest are all for, and that is carried. Thank you.
The vote 6-4, 1 against, with 4 councillors absent. The majority of speakers present in council chambers were against the proposal due to its suitability in the CBD and if its height will affect the other buildings. Some opponents questioning if it's appropriate for the council to conduct a vote so close to the local government elections, with several councillors retiring.
So would it not be more appropriate, or indeed more ethical, to defer voting or discussing on this significant item until after the forthcoming local government elections?
I've got to say, I actually take offence that people feel that because maybe I'm retiring or others are not contesting, that we shouldn't have a say.
The City of Launceston initially approved the hotel in June of 2019.
I just don't understand why, I had to follow everything in the planning scheme and they don't.
However, the Planning Appeals Tribunal upheld an appeal by Susie Kai and the Launceston Heritage Not High-Rise Group, citing height and compatibility. However, several councillors say despite the community's concern, the proposal is compliant. Other community members also supporting the project.
The more places in Launceston, the better.
This place needs new development. The city centre's too dead.
But it's not over. The objectors already planning to fight the decision. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Our Housing Minister remains confident the government can deliver 10,000 new affordable houses by 2032. It's 3 years since the federal government waived the state's housing-related debt. Since then, 210 new homes have been built, with 1,500 due by June next year, a target Guy Barnett says can be achieved.
It's a lot of money and every dollar counts, so we've got the most ambitious plan for housing and homelessness in Tasmanian history.
Hobart City Mission's Balmoral Lodge, a beneficiary of the debt cancellation. Management says 16 people have moved from the centre to other housing since it opened. Hobart's nightlife is back after COVID-19, experiencing the largest industry growth in Australia. Hospitality and arts workers are celebrating the achievement, but say the sector still has hurdles to jump over.
It's no secret the COVID-19 pandemic had a strong and global grip on the arts, entertainment and hospitality sector.
Everything dried up completely. There wasn't any work at all, and especially affected a lot of the smaller operators and musicians who really relied very heavily on that as an income.
3 years on and Hobart's social life is finally on the mend.
We're now being booked on a regular basis.
The Australian Nighttime Economy report revealing Hobart's entertainment establishments grew by 12% between 2020 and 2021, nearly double the rate of our mainland counterparts.
These are the businesses that operate from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. They're open when we're either at home or we're out with friends after work.
Patrons pouring around $780 million into the sector's cash register each year, with employment levels also on the rise.
About 15% of the jobs in the city of Hobart are in the nighttime economy.
But we're still a long way from normality, the industry's growth generating a new set of problems.
Venues are open much later, and there's a variety of venues now that have to coexist.
We're making sure that nighttime businesses can thrive and do well, and the clashes between neighbouring properties and the nighttime economy don't undermine the growth of this sector.
Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Returning to our top story now, and there's been another major whale stranding on the west coast of Tasmania. 2 years to the day since the largest whale stranding in Australia's history claimed the lives of hundreds of mammals near Strawn. Our reporter McKenna Bailey is at Macquarie Harbour. McKenna, how are rescue efforts looking there tonight?
Kim, light is beginning to fade, and with it, hopes of safely returning all the stranded whales to sea. There's believed to be around 230 pilot whales in this latest incident. We spoke to a member of the rescue operation a short time ago.
Just saving whales off the beach. There's about 200 out there, so we've been dragging as many up, getting them righted, and hopefully ready to get back in the water tomorrow.
And what's the operation been like so far?
It's been pretty good, just hands-on. We've only had a pretty small crew out there. Just people getting to Strawn's pretty logistically challenging, so just as many people as you can on whales and pulling up the beach, and manpower.
And have locals been around watching it all? Or
Not really. I think the police have done a pretty good job at isolating it all, just to keep people away. Yeah.
And has that helped the operation?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
And I guess what can we expect tomorrow with that operation?
Look, I think there's going to be a meeting tonight. Everyone will sort of collaborate and make the plan. So until then, we probably don't really know. But hopefully it involve saving some whales. But see how we go.
And did you manage saving any whales today?
We got one out. There was only one in the harbour here that we managed to get out. It was quite deep, so that was good. The rest are on Ocean Beach. So we'll reconvene tomorrow.
Efforts will be suspended overnight to resume at first light. A meeting will also be held in the next few hours to determine a course of action for tomorrow. Locals are being asked to stay away from the area and, in particular, avoid launching boats into the water. Kim.
Hobart is home to a new peace promenade, 5 years in the making. The project stems from a partnership between SCUL and the International Institute for Peace through tourism. It's encouraging Tasmanians do their part in promoting global reconciliation.
We've got a couple of apricot trees there, I think, and some of the herbs that are growing in the boxes, I believe, have already been picked by passers-by, so people are starting to engage with the area.
The trees are planted in temporary boxes and won't go in the ground until the Macquarie Point Master Plan is finalised. A critical support centre is celebrating a decade, helping those living with cancer in northern Tasmania. The Cancer Council hoping to expand and replicate the model to the northwest of the state.
When Doreen Frost was treated for cancer, she was looking to give back. She's a volunteer with the Tasmanian Cancer Council for close to 30 years, hoping to support other people going through the same experience.
Because I knew what other people had gone through, and so it was just my incentive to be able to help and do what I could for the community.
She was one of many people who attended the 10th anniversary of the Northern Cancer Support Centre this morning. The facility was the first of its kind in Australia.
10 years has gone very quickly, but it's an amazing outcome, and over that time, 22,000 occasions of support have been provided at this centre.
The model used for the Launceston Centre was brought across for the Southern Centre in Hobart. Now they're aiming to build one on the northwest coast.
We still have a lot more that we can do in the centre. We try and keep providing professional quality and relevant services and programs.
As for Doreen, she'll continue to support Tasmanians who are being treated for cancer or have recovered from it.
Well, it gives me great satisfaction to be able to be part of helping people to get through any diagnosis they may have been given.
Mark Zeta, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston coach Mitch Thorpe will face serious misconduct charges at the tribunal after abusing Kingborough's Tyler Carter at half-time of the grand final. The incident wasn't caught on camera, but AFL Tasmania says Thorpe waited for Tigers players as they left the field before launching into the verbal exchange. The tribunal will hear the matter next week. For Tyler Carter's part, he'll cop a 2-match ban for punching Launceston's Jacob Boyd in the jaw leading up to half-time. And both clubs have been fined for an all-in brawl AFL Tasmania says the Blues were the instigator, meaning they're being fined $1,000. Kingborough will have to pay $500. Also in the State League, North Hobart is parting ways with coach Clinton French. The club cites issues between the playing group and the coach over the past year. French had spent 2 years at the helm, North Hobart praising his heart and soul for the role. The club will advertise for a replacement in the coming days. Georgia Baker has claimed a bronze medal in the World Championships in the team time trial mixed relay. The Aussies had set the fastest time up until that point, but they slipped to third behind Switzerland and Italy by the end. Tasmania's Alexandra Viney is straight through to the final of the PR3 women's pair at the World Rowing Championships. She finished second in her preliminary race, while Georgia Nesbitt will race in the semi-finals tomorrow after advancing in the lightweight women's single sculls. Henry Hill's men's 8 crew will need to race in the repechage on Friday to make the final after narrowly missing out in the heats. And clubs are still celebrating their Hockey Premier League triumphs on the weekend. In the men's, Canterbury defeated Derwent, bringing its 22-year premiership drought to an end.
It just means a lot for the club. There have been so many people waiting a long time for us to finally lift the cup.
While Derwent won in the women's against OHA after a tough start to the season.
We could hardly make a full team. We're bringing heaps of people up from our reserves team. I think the first few games we lost about 7-1.
Both teams securing their grand final wins through penalty shootouts.
Good evening. Launceston reached 21 today and was awarded warmest place in Tasmania for the day. Hobart 20, Burnie and Devonport 17 degrees. Temperatures mostly between 3 and 7 above average. Ouse 20, St Helens, Strawn and King Island 19, Flinders Island and Lowhead 18. Friendly Beaches 17 today with Lyowini on a high of 16. Areas of low and middle cloud went over us today. Brief periods of sunshine experienced as well. A low and series of fronts generated the cloud over the eastern states, some low-level cloud too over the coastal fringe of South Australia and southwest WA. Tomorrow, the low sits over New South Wales, extending troughs to the north and south. The next high moves over South Australia. The winds north-nor'easterly, tending northwesterly in the west at 10 to 20 knots, with lighter winds over the inland lakes. Straight into the forecast for Hobart, mostly sunny and 21 tomorrow. 21 with a possible late shower for Cygnet, 23 the high for New Norfolk. Launceston warming up to 22, mostly sunny, partly cloudy in Devonport, and 21 the high for Campbelltown. Burnie expecting 17 and partly cloudy. Strawn the same and 18 the top for Smithton. And for St Helens, a high tomorrow of 20 degrees and partly cloudy. Sunny for Swansea, 21 and 21 also for Fingal. On Friday, showers developing over most areas. Burnie though, cloudy and 16. Showers on Saturday more likely over the southeast. Some snow to 800 metres. And Hobart, after expecting 21 tomorrow, looking at just 12 on Saturday. And on Sunday, a light shower over the west, fine and partly cloudy elsewhere. Further north tomorrow we go, and Perth and Adelaide, both partly cloudy and tops of 19 degrees. Melbourne, fine and 20. Canberra, showery and 17. Rain for Sydney, and also showers for Brisbane and 23 tomorrow. Bit cloudy at the moment, 16 in Hobart, 16 in Launceston and 13 right now in Devonport. Kim, I'm in grand final preparation mode. I don't want to be distracted by you or anyone else around here, so I'll see you later next week, something like that.
I suggest you should have a few days off, Murph.